In just the last 3 weeks, Chinese warships, Coast Guard vessels, and maritime militia have been spotted violating Philippine waters in the north, the center, and even deep in the south. This isn't just a single incident. This is a coordinated and relentless maritime campaign. But why? And more importantly, how much longer can the Philippines hold the line? Let's break it down. In mid-January 2025, in Zambales, off the northern coast of the Philippines, near Scarborough Shoal, Chinese Coast Guard ship CCG-5901, a monster ship, a massive Chinese vessel measuring 165 meters long and 22 meters wide, weighing 12,000 tons, was seen near the rich fishing grounds where Filipino fishermen have been harassed for years. This floating fortress is no fishing boat. It's a statement of dominance. In response, the Philippine Coast Guard deployed a much smaller vessel, the BRP Gabriela Silang. Much smaller in size, the vessel and its crew issued radio challenges to the massive Chinese ship and maintained a position within 60 nautical miles of the Philippine coast.
16 Arbitral Award. We are conducting maritime law enforcement operation.
Early February 2025. In the central waters near the Philippines-controlled outposts in the West Philippine Sea, more China Coast Guard ships have been spotted continuing their brazen and intrusive patrols along the Philippine coastline. The goal perhaps is to suffocate and overburden limited Philippine Coast Guard assets. Just a week after, 3 Chinese warships entered the Sulu Sea, a guided missile carrier, a Class 3 frigate, and a supply ship. This is in a zone deep within Philippine maritime territory. This isn't disputed territory. This is an outright intrusion. And here's where things get even more disturbing. Why is China doing this? Are they simply flexing their power, or is there something bigger at play? The truth is, China's strategy follows a pattern of salami slicing, a slow and deliberate campaign to normalize their presence in Philippine waters until there's nothing left to dispute. They build, they patrol, they block, and eventually they claim. And the worst part? The Philippines, with its limited naval resources, is struggling to respond to these simultaneous threats.
Vessel 3304, patrolling in the sea area under the jurisdiction of People's Republic of China in accordance with the law.
You are advised that you are currently sailing inside the Philippine Exclusive Economic Zone, approximately 65 nautical miles from the coastline of San Antonio, Zambales.
Here's the situation. Every time a Chinese ship enters Philippine waters, the Philippine Coast Guard and Navy must respond. But with limited ships, fuel, and manpower, they are being forced to stretch their defenses across vast maritime zones. Imagine a small police force tasked with patrolling a massive city, but crime is happening in every corner, all at once. How do you keep up? That's exactly the pressure the Philippine Navy and Coast Guard is under right now. But here's where things take a turn. The Philippines is not alone in this region. The US, Japan, Australia, and European nations have all stepped up their joint patrols and defense cooperation with Manila. Naval ships from the UK, France, Canada, and Germany are now participating in joint naval drills and exercises in these waters. China calls these so-called patrols as provocations and a direct move to destabilize the peaceful situation in the region. However, in reality, they are a direct response to China's maritime expansion and aggression. But will joint drills and patrols be enough? Are these actions too little, too late? Or does the Philippines need something more? If these intrusions continue, and they will, the Philippines will have to make a choice. Rely on continued diplomacy, strengthen its military, or take a harder stance. The reality is, China is testing the limits. How the Philippines and its allies respond in the coming months will determine the future of Southeast Asian security. This is not just about the Philippines. This is about sovereignty, freedom, and the rule of law in the region. The question is, will Manila stand firm, or will China's creeping expansion eventually succeed? What do you think? Should the Philippines push back harder? Strengthen its military or rely more on allies? Comment below and share your thoughts.